Okay, I had one of my haters tried telling me that Martin Luther did not hate Jews, that he wasn't anti Semitic. So, what I'm going to do is I found online one of Martin Luther's essays called On Jews and Their Lies, and I'm going to read you near the end of it. He definitely did not like Jews. Hopefully, I'll have enough time to read this whole thing. But what will happen even if we do burn down the Jews' synagogues and forbid them publicly to praise God, to pray, to teach, to utter God's name? They will still keep doing it in secret. They must be driven from our country. Indeed, if they had the power to do to us what we are able to do to them, not one of us would live for an hour. But since they lack the power to do this publicly, they remain our daily murderers and bloodthirsty foes in their hearts. Their prayers and curses furnish evidence of that, as do the many stories which relate their torturing of children and all sorts of crimes for which they have often been burned at the stake or banished. Everyone would gladly be rid of them, for Christ does not lie or deceive us when he adjudges them to be serpents and children of the devil. If I had power over the Jews, as our princes and cities have, I would deal severely with their lying mouth. If I had power over them, I would assemble their scholars and their leaders and order them, on pain of losing their tongues down to the root. Such a mouth would be punished for two reasons. In the first place, because it confesses that it does not understand this. In the second place, because it never blasphemes something which it does not understand. Why do they not first ask? Indeed, why have they heard it for 1,500 years, and yet refuse to learn or understand it? Therefore such a lack of understanding cannot help or excuse them, nor us Christians, if we tolerate this any longer from them. They proceed, impelled by the devil, to fall into this like filthy sows fall into the trough, defaming and reviling what they refuse to acknowledge and to understand. They cannot be God's people, no matter how much they teach, clamor, and pray. They are condemned to blaspheme, curse, and vilify God himself, and all that is God's. For their eternal damnation, they, the princes, must act like a good physician who, when gangrene has set, proceeds without mercy to cut, saw, and burn flesh, veins, bone, and marrow. Such a procedure must also be followed in this instance. Burn down their synagogues, forbid all that I enumerated earlier, force them to work, and deal harshly with them, as Moses did in the wilderness, slaying 3,000 lest the whole people perish. It would be wrong to be merciful and confirm them in their conduct. If this does not help, we must drive them out like mad dogs, so that we do not become partakers of their abominable blasphemy and all their other vices, and thus merit God's wrath and be damned with them. I have done my duty. Now let everyone see to his. I am exonerated. If God were to give me no other Messiah, such as the Jews wish and hope for, I would much, much rather be a sow than a human being. If I could become the ruler of Turkey, or the Messiah for whom the Jews hope, I would still prefer being a sow. The wretched Jews, on the other hand, who rejected this Messiah, have languished and perished since that time in anguish of heart and trouble, trembling, wrath, impatience, malice, blasphemy, and cursing. My essay, I hope, will furnish a Christian who in any case has no desire to become a Jew, with enough material not only to defend himself against the blind venomous Jews, but also to become the foe of the Jews. They are surely possessed by all devils. Okay, the reason why all that is important to understand, Martin Luther started the Reformation, which basically was the first time anyone had successfully schismed or broke off from Catholicism. The Catholics hated the Jews too, and all this is based in the New Testament, all this hatred for Jews. But Martin Luther was no better than the Catholics. And between Catholicism and Lutheranism within Germany, there was this resentment and hatred of the Jews. Some of it might have some of it might have been due to their tribalism, how they helped each other out and basically came into positions of power and whatnot. Not power, but at least wealth. So anyways, this anti-Semitism greatly influenced Hitler. And part of the reason why he hated those Jews so much was because his wife was, not his wife, his mother was the maid of a prominent Jew. And there is a rumor, we know he was a bastard, but there's always been the rumor that the employee of the mother of Hitler had an affair and was actually Hitler's father. So he was half Jewish. Well, his hatred of the Jewish, he projected it outward, denied any Jewish ancestry, and basically it led to the Holocaust. And it sprang out of Christianity. And that's just, I mean, that's commonly accepted. I mean, you can deny it, but I want you to find evidence like I have, you know, and I'll post the web link here. Maybe you won't, maybe you can come up with a counter argument. I would like to see you do that, Carcer, because right now all I've gotten out of you is ad hominem attacks and stuff that's just bizarre. I mean, you don't make good arguments. I don't even know why I'm wasting my time with you. After all, you're just a teenage boy. But anyway, I hope to elevate this conversation a little bit, which is why I'm making a video. Otherwise, I'm just going to start ignoring you because you need to do some research or something. I mean, you say you're going to be a doctor, but I mean, if you're not willing to do your homework, you're never going to be a doctor.